In this discussion, we will discuss the discussion question of list and explain the three major activity categories of a state or local government. If we see a discussion question or essay question like this, our goal typically is to expand on the discussion or essay question if time allows. That makes it more likely that we're going to touch on those items that are looked for to pick up points for an essay question and be able to add new information to the discussion for a discussion question. Keeping that in mind, let's take a look at this one more time. List and explain the three major activity categories of a state or local government. If we see a question like this, our first goal might be to define the state and local government, and then of course to list those activities. Once we have them listed, then go into the details with it. That's a good place to start for the essay question and discussion question to kind of pick up the most points up front. Then you may want to expand on that. One way to expand on that is basically to take a step back and start to think about what is going to be the overall activity that we're thinking about. In other words, you could start to define the state and local government, what are its objectives, and compare and contrast the accounting for the state and local government to what is more familiar probably for most people, which is going to be the for-profit type of entity. So in other words, you could take a step back and think about, all right, well, what is the state and local government as compared to accounting for other types of entities? Listing the three major types of activities is going to be similar to the groupings of basically the funds that we're going to be setting up. So the three major types of activities are going to be the governmental activities, the business type activities, and fiduciary activities. Governmental activities, you can think of the core kind of overarching type of activities. Governmental activities are those core governmental services together with general administrative support activities. Examples would include things like public safety, public works, parks and recreation, culture, social services. Business type activities are activities that, although they're going to be government related, are supposed to be self-supporting in some way. And in order to be self-supporting in some way, you could think of them as, in essence, having a service or goods or services they provide and some type of clients or customers for them, and collecting some type of revenue that hopefully will be paying for the services that would be provided. And therefore, you can think of them as accounted for in a similar fashion as a for-profit type of entity, although they're going to be governmental type of entity. This could include things like utilities that are being paid for that are being provided by the government, or something like a public swimming pool or something like that, where you have to pay some kind of charge for the use of the public swimming pool. And then we have the fiduciary type of activity. That's going to be our third major grouping. The fiduciary activities are where the government acts in the fiduciary type of capacity. So we're acting kind of like as an agent, either as an agent or trustee for parties outside of the government. So in other words, we might be acting as like an agent that has a trust fund that's managing basically the trustee, acting as basically a trustee for the trust fund that is owned by some organization outside of the government.